following podcast contains adult themes, sexual content, and adult language. But would you rather have it any other way?
Alright, so welcome to the Would We Rather podcast, where we tackle some of the hardest, most offensive, slightly awkward would you rather questions ever imagined. Today's question is, would you rather have impeccable fashion sense and low self-esteem, or a horrible sense of fashion but be ignorantly confident?
The second one for sure.
Obviously the second one. You wouldn't know if you were ignorantly confident. You wouldn't know that you didn't have any fashion sense.
Yeah, you think you're like a fashionista.
Well,
That could be us right now, to be honest with you, because we just go for we don't just go with our own style.
well, before we get into it, I'm going to introduce you guys first.
Okay.
So today on the panel, we've got Ivy, say hello,
Hello.
and Lone.
Hi.
So you guys are from the fantastic shop of Hunter Rose. Can you just give us like a bit of a run through about Hunter Rose, just for people that don't know, just a little bit about the business?
Okay.
A little spiel, if you could.
So me and Ivy own Hunter Rose. So we are a sleepwear label. How did we start, Ivy?
Okay, so I guess we met at uni,
Yep.
and we went and did our own thing, tried to climb the corporate ladder and hated it. We kind of just got to a place where we're like, is this it? Is this where we worked so hard for?
Mm-hmm.
So career-wise, we're moving in the right track. Wage-wise, we're moving in the right track. But just, I guess, mentally and spiritually, we just felt like we didn't belong here.
Yeah.
I think after a few conversations together, and I had an event where my mum was diagnosed with cancer. So she was diagnosed with cancer, and I was in a really bad place with work.
Yep.
And they were telling me to not see her during my lunch breaks because it was interrupting my day. So I quit on the spot, and I was more than happy
that's
to
ridiculous.
do. Yeah. There was many tears and a lot of anger at the time, but you know what? There's a silver lining, or things happen for a reason.
Sure.
So I quit on the spot, and I had, I think, 3 months with Mum before she passed. And after that, I retreated back to my hometown in Panawanika, and I thought, I cannot go back to a workplace that treats its people
sure.
miserably.
Yeah.
And so Lone and I were having a conversation a month after Mum had passed, and she suggested we start a company together. I had nothing to lose. She was ready to go out. So I guess that's where Hunter Rose was born.
Sure.
We didn't come up with sleepwear straight away, but we just brainstormed a whole bunch of ideas, and I guess it had snowballed into sleepwear, and we created this brand that is what Hunter Rose is now, which is kind of a cheeky, flirty women's sleepwear range. And yeah, we're 2 years gone, and it's been fun.
Yeah.
And where did the name Hunter Rose come from?
Oh, we get this question asked a lot, and we kind of wish we had like an amazing story to it. To be honest, we kind of were thinking of names, and we love the name Hunter. Like, we just love it. It's like really strong, masculine. Sure. But if you're going for, I guess, women's sleepwear, you kind of want it to be a little bit more, I guess, more girly. Yep. And so that's where we added Rose to balance it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We tried to make up like a really cool backstory, but we're horrible liars, so we just went with the truth.
All right, cool. So tying that back in, I've seen some of the range, and it's awesome. And for anyone that hasn't followed you guys already, definitely follow you guys on social media, especially like Instagram. Now, one of the things that surprised me so much was when you guys, both of you, jumped up and said, yeah, second, horrible fashion sense, but ignorantly confident. Because I would have thought that, particularly with the type of stuff that you guys do, that one of the things that shouldn't be take for granted, I guess, is like that sense of fashion, right? Because I feel like for me, for someone that has no background in fashion at all, I feel like having fashion sense is something that you can't really learn. It's like something that, like an innate talent. How far off am I in that?
Oh, yeah. A bit of yes and no, because I guess every piece that we own, everyone wears it differently. So you could have good fashion taste, but it's also how you style it. Like everyone styles it differently.
Sure.
And someone can love it how you style, and then someone can absolutely hate it. But you're like, I look like the fucking best thing ever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I also think fashion is, I guess, subjective in the fact that everyone has a different opinion on fashion sense. So our label isn't about what is on trend or what Kylie Jenner's wearing per se.
Sure.
It's what we think women will feel comfortable in, what we think women will feel confident in. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily following trends. It's following our own style and our own aesthetic.
Yeah.
That we think we would feel beautiful and sexy when we go to bed. So we're putting our style out there, which isn't necessarily on trend.
Sure.
Quotation marks. But we just go with how we feel. So I think fashion isn't a big... it isn't a priority for us because we go mostly off how the product feels and how the woman feels.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And I guess going to your question, I mean, we work in an industry where, it's fashion, it's all image and looks, and we always go for how you feel. So like you said, if you feel you might have bad fashion style per se, but if you're absolutely confident, like nothing else really matters, I guess. You're in your own world.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, having said that, right, in terms of the comfort, I can understand the comfort. Mm-hmm. But let's say, when you have that comfort level down in terms of, okay, sort of what kind of apparel that you want, what kind of material that you want. In terms of the design of it, how important is that process of knowing what women would, I guess, be drawn to in terms of the design of the fabric in the end, of that end material? Like, how important is that step really?
I guess.
And how do you know? And how would you know it?
The thing is, we
don't
know.
Right?
You don't. That's the beauty of this industry, is that you tell people what they need to be wearing.
Sure.
And I guess that's the beauty of fashion, is that you've got a whole bunch of people telling you what you should be wearing. So you can kind of make it up. And that's a bit of intel from us.
Yeah.
You never want to be the person that is following trends because you want to predict the next trend. So really, it is important to know who your clientele is, to know who your target market is, and decide what kind of materials do they like to be in. Are they high end? Do we want to get pure silk and pure cotton, or are they more likely to go for the comfort but don't want to spend too much money, but also want to feel great? So you've just got to decide where your market is, what you think they will like most about what you're producing, and then build from there.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, one of the things that for me when I thought of this question was that it was the element of like education, right? So from where I was standing, it was kind of like, okay, something like impeccable fashion sense, or to know like what looks good, is something I feel like you can't learn. Whereas self-esteem and be able to get that confidence, that is something that you can sort of teach or be coached through. And so from where I was thinking, it was a case of, well, which one would be easier over the long term to be able to grasp? So if you were lacking one, which one would be easier to pick up, essentially?
So fashion sense versus
confidence and self-esteem. Like, I mean, how hard is it? Would you say that both of you, in terms of like self-esteem, would you say that you have a really good, strong sense of self-esteem, or really? I guess you would have to, really, because you would have to have a level of confidence and self-esteem to be able to come out and go, you know what, like, what we're going to do to be independent, really. Yeah. You do kind of need that level of that confidence, of course.
Yeah, for sure. We do have that that confidence and self-esteem to kind of go for what we want and not let other people stop us. But at the same time, being in this industry and just, I guess, being humans in general, you do have those days where you're like, I don't feel like it today.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think, like, aesthetically, if we're going back to your question, I think fashion is a lot more easier to learn because, I don't know, as a woman or a female growing up in this society, there's a certain look that's portrayed, and it's very narrow. So trying to fit that perception of what perfect is, that's hard to get your mind around. That if I'm not this girl, whatever society is telling you that you need to be, then it's hard to get your mind around, okay, so that's okay, I'm not this girl, I'm still going to be comfortable in who I am. Whereas you could go on Instagram or buy a magazine or Google what the fashion trend is and just buy it. You can go to the shop and say, give me exactly what you have on that mannequin, and you're fashionable. Like, I think that's easy to learn. You start to, if you're in it enough, you start to pick up what colours are in season, what the celebrities are wearing, and that's most likely what's going to be on trend. Because, like I said, people tell you what's the fashion. It's very much not like, it's not someone saying, oh, okay, Versace says this is going to be the fashion for the next year. It's a whole bunch of people just wearing something, and someone else goes, oh, okay, I like that, and then 1,000 people make it.
Yeah.
Sure. That's very true in terms of like a trend, but what about in terms of just the innate sense of what is good and what isn't? Like, for example, I had a wedding recently, and one of the biggest problems I have is because I have no clue, right, in terms of things like color, right, and things like, what should match and what shouldn't match, and that's one of the biggest problems that I have. And so I spent ages going, I have this jacket and I know it's this color, but what goes with it? And it's a real panic mode. There should be a formula for it. Like, from where I understand, like, something to learn or something that you can teach yourself is that has to come with like a set pattern or formulas or something that you can go, oh yeah, you can study this and go, yeah, this is what makes sense. But a large part of like the industry, like the whole fashion industry, which I don't understand, is that there are a lot of times when someone says, oh, this is good, like from a fashion standpoint, and from me, if I look at it from like an analytical standpoint, it goes, well, that makes no sense. Like, these two things shouldn't go together in my head. But I guess if you say it works, if you say so, then I guess that must be right.
I don't know. I think it just comes down to, well, for me, the only thing that I'm like a big no is just ill-fitting clothes. Like, if it's a jacket needs to be tailored a bit, and pants need to hem up just to fit your size.
Sure,
that's it. But I mean, some people wear totally different colours, like floral and a colour, and they absolutely pull it off. But someone else can do it and not pull it off, and that might just come down to confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The formula is confidence, because people wear odd things all the time and it comes off as fashionable. You know why? It's because they're confident enough to pull it off. Sometimes I wear red and green and look like a Christmas wrapping gift. But you know what? If I feel great and I feel confident in it, people are just going to palm it off as, okay, this is her style, this is her trend.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Because that's really interesting to me, because I always thought of it as in the opposite direction, which was that for people that do have low self-esteem or don't have that confidence in themselves, being able to dress fashionably or fashionably well is that I guess what fills that void to be able to boost them, right? Kind of like it's kind of almost like a fallback to go, well, I don't really feel good about the way I look, but at least I know that if I dress this certain way, then that can give me an air of confidence, right? Yeah. Almost like a fake sort of confidence.
Yeah, and I guess that's where you hit the nail on the head. It's a false confidence in that, okay, if I wear this, if I wear what everyone else is wearing, I will feel better. But I think the people that do that don't feel better. And I guess I've been one, I don't know if I necessarily hid behind fashion, but I've definitely used fashion as a platform to I don't know if it's boost my confidence or boost people's perception of me, but I get what you're saying in that kind of people hide behind the facade of, okay, if you look cool, you're cool.
Right.
I'm kind of mid-thought about that. I'm just thinking, I think I'm definitely one of those girls that have done it. And somewhere along the lines, I think I had learnt that you can't, one, afford to always be on trend.
Okay, yep.
And two, you can't impress everyone with what you wear.
Sure.
I could be dressed impeccably right now, and that's not going to suit everyone's taste. Not everyone's going to like you. So I think there's part of you that, yes, hides behind it, and then you quickly realize that it doesn't create the outcome that you desire, which is, I guess, approval. A lot of people want approval from wearing the trendy stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. How important was the concept of fashion in terms of your lives when you were growing up? And how did it affect your own sense of self? So, like, when you're growing up, were you two both always like super confident in yourselves, or was it something that you had to learn or build over time? Like, how was it for you guys when you were growing up, and then how did fashion come into it later on, or was it just always a part of a part and package?
I don't know. Well, we're both country girls at heart.
Okay.
So yeah, we moved up to Perth like for uni, so we spent most of our lives in the country. So I grew up in Geraldton, so that's that very beach coastal.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess their style is a little bit more relaxed. And because I lived on a farm, you're not really out in all the shops all the time. So yeah, I would always buy magazines and I just used to look at all their clothes. But obviously my parents wouldn't get me like everything.
Sure.
Because they thought I didn't need that many clothes anyway. So yeah, I think it's just like I always had it in me like to be like style and fashion, but I guess when you're in a small town you're a bit restricted, so I didn't really have as much, I guess, opportunities in that. So in terms of like confidence, style and fashion, it definitely grew more when I finished high school. Yeah.
And when you started going to uni, I'm sure it would have been like a much different sort of vibe, right? Like coming all the way from Geraldton, right? And then you get, I guess, like inundated with like just all this, I guess, different visual stimuli. So how was that experience for you?
Oh, I guess, yeah, it was, yeah. When I first moved up and went to uni, you do think, oh my God, I have no clothes.
Yeah.
No clothes.
You're kind of like, I have no idea. I thought I had it, but I actually don't.
Yeah. But then I guess from there, I kind of just bought a few things and kind of just wore it my way. And then I kind of get it in a little bit then. But yeah.
Fashion's also like, it grows with you. So I guess when you first go to uni, you see all these people wearing like bright and shiny things, and you're like, oh my gosh, I actually have no idea. And then you develop your taste and your style as you develop yourself, I guess. What makes you feel confident?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even, to be honest, since we started before we started Hunter Race to now, my style has completely, I would not say completely, but has changed quite a bit.
Oh yeah, totally.
Sure.
Like definitely, like some things I'm a little bit more relaxed. Like in terms of like clothing, maybe when you're a bit younger, you think you have to wear like tight things for boys and stuff like that. Like you're a bit over that now.
Yeah. And I guess the trends change as well. I think for like me, I grew up with boys as well as in the country. So, and I've got a lot of family. My dad's one of 12 and my mum's one of 9.
Wow.
So massive family. So you always need to create ways to stand out. Otherwise you'll become unseen in your family.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that I used my clothing. So, and I think that shows in Hunter Rose as well with like our aesthetics really daring. It breaches the territory where a lot of people haven't gone yet in terms of stylish pajamas.
Okay. One of the things that interested me about the concept of Hunter Rose, it was like the comfort element, right? Because that's something that I found was I went through, I guess it was like a weird like forward phase. I grew up from sort of low middle income family, so couldn't really afford nice clothes. And so in primary school, a lot of that is just about, people will just bully you for like no reason. And I was never really bullied, but, it was just one of the things where like I felt like if I didn't have, dress a certain way like the other kids, then, okay, I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And that became far more relevant going to high school.
Yeah.
But through all that, because I was sort of forced into that situation where I couldn't afford all the same clothes other people wore, it kind of, I guess, made me have to go in a certain different direction, which was like, okay, if I can't have this, then I have to be able to kind of, like you said before, I have to like stand out, but in another way. So for me, it wasn't through fashion, but it was through, I guess, that lack of, and then I had to go down different route and just, I guess, try and be smarter, funnier, whatever.
Other talent?
You know, really, what
It's like, okay, I'm not good at this. I'll go this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was essentially that for me. And then by the time I got to uni, I kind of fully regressed and was kind of like, okay, so now I have no intent on even like trying to wrap my head around what makes sense from a fashion standpoint, and I dress purely for comfort. Like you guys can't see, but I mean you guys can see. So this is pretty much what I wear like on a daily basis, which is just like a t-shirt and usually like something really like, you know, really comfy for pants. Like usually slacks.
Well, you're lucky because we're going to do a men's range.
So yeah, so that's where I've regressed back to. So for me, it was kind of like a forced situation. However, it would have been nice, and I feel like I missed out maybe on that phase where I should have learned how to dress well. Because I feel like when it does come to times when you have to dress for certain things, I really fall short. Because kind of like, well, you know, you can't just go to a formal event and just expect that, okay, yes, so you're funny, therefore you can just slide with just wearing thongs, you know what I'm saying? You know, so I feel like I really missed out on that part, and it's almost like an impossible thing to learn, really, unless you have someone that dictates to you. It's not like something that you can just open up a book and go, okay, these are the things that you should be doing, you know?
It's like rhythm.
Yeah. Another thing I'm really bad at as well.
Well, I guess my question to you would be, is it even a priority for you? Because if it was, then maybe would you look into it more? Would you? Because for me, I don't look into or research or follow anything that I'm not interested in. So if you're not interested in fashion, if that's not a priority for you, you don't bother.
Sure.
So I guess where I'm getting at is that because it's not a priority, do you actually worry about it that much?
Not really. Not on a day-to-day basis, no.
Yes.
I guess only in situations where, like formal events, like things like, because, you know, it's coming up to that season where everyone's getting married.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone's
pressure.
getting married.
Yeah.
And, like, I may not know much, but I know that, like, really, you shouldn't be wearing the same thing to every single wedding. I know that must be a rule somewhere, okay?
I hate that rule. I hate that rule.
Just don't get photographed too much. And then you'll be right.
So when it comes to those crunch times where it's kind of like, okay, it's time to get ready to, to buy the clothes or to get dressed for whatever event, then it's panic time. It's one of those things where, okay, I panic for those moments and then
you forget about it.
And then the event's over and I've worn whatever and then, I forget about it. And that's it until the next time.
And then the event comes again, you get the anxiety.
That's exactly right. That's exactly it.
That's where you fall on salespeople.
Yeah.
I used to actually work in menswear mile. Oh, man.
Stop.
No, seriously. And one of the hardest questions someone can ever ask you is, hey, does this go with this, or do you think this will look good on me? And the correct answer is always, yeah, of course that will look good on you. But deep, I know, right? I have no fucking idea. Once you put, you can put that on and you could look like a total retard, and I would have no clue because I can't imagine you in whatever.
I find that so interesting because when I see people in clothes, I like it or I don't. Mm-hmm. Do you have that or no?
Yes.
Yes. So when you try on things, do you like it or not? So you just buy the stuff that you like. Who cares what other people think?
Right. I mean,
you can't wear thongs. Like, you can't dress for comfort. But go to a formal section of Myers. And that's pretty much on trend. You're very limited because they're telling you what to wear, pretty much.
Sure. I feel like it's a lot easier.
Try a whole bunch of things on, and whatever you feel like you like is what you wear. I think people think about it too much. People put that pressure of, this won't suit me, or I'm not fashionable enough to wear this. And I think that's all in their heads. I understand that you've got to dress to your body shape, and you can't wear things that are too outrageous. But I'm of the perception of, if you like the look of it and you're confident enough to pull it off, people will believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me put this to you though. Now, the way I worded was very specific, right? Because confidence is one thing, but to be ignorantly confident is another. Now, why I say that is because, of course, it makes sense that, hey, if you're confident in your own clothes or confident in your own skin, as they say, then, hey, people will think you look great most of the time. But I want to go down this route of, okay, I want to take you to maybe somewhere down South Rockingham or something, Armadale. Okay, I'm going to take you. I want to take you down there.
Where people are a little bit more humble.
Where
Where
there's a whole bunch of confidence there, but there is no way I would go down there and
Someone's fashionable.
And I'm going to see, this pregnant teen mom wearing, super short shorts when obviously it's not working for her, and go, fuck, because she's confident, she's working it,
Yeah.
And I feel like being ignorantly confident can be oftentimes like worse for you. Or maybe not, because I guess if you're that person, maybe you don't give a fuck. But I feel like for everyone else that can be detrimental to be ignorantly confident with no basis except to be confident for the sake of being confident.
I guess even like sometimes we're like, for us, we're like, we need to calm the fuck down. Like, yeah. So I know maybe for like the outer audience, I mean, for them to see that, it might not be easy on the eyes.
Yeah, because.
But I mean, yeah, if they love it,
that's what I think too. I just don't like the idea of people telling you what you should wear and then you should wear it because that's what's acceptable. I mean, and don't get naked in public. That is against the law. But I don't know. I guess we're the type of people to push boundaries. So we could look fucking awesome and people would see us and be like, that is fucked up. You should never wear that again. I don't care.
Do you get that though? Like, is that something that's actually happened?
No one's said anything in particular, but there have been looks. Me especially, I think I push the boundaries a little bit because I don't feel confident if I'm wearing something on trend. I don't feel confident when I'm wearing something everyone else is wearing.
Okay, sure.
So I like putting things together that are a little bit outrageous or a little bit kooky, and that's what makes me feel good. But at the same time, I will get some looks like, oh, okay, no one told me that was good, but you go for it. And I've just learnt to not care. Okay, I'm not a pregnant teen in South Rockingham wearing short shorts, but I could be. Like, who's to judge? That's not my style.
Yeah. And I think what we've also learned is people are always going to have an opinion. So even if, right now, or if I went somewhere and I looked amazing, someone's got to love it, someone's got to hate it. And I think a really good example is with the Met Gala.
Okay, yeah.
And Bella Hadid. Some people think, oh, she wore stockings. Other people were saying, like, this is what you wear if you go see your ex.
Yeah.
So it's like two different sides. You always got to get opinion.
But so that's interesting because, like, I feel like with the whole Met Gala thing, like there were definitely some that everyone just sort of agrees that, okay, that looks amazing. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head.
What was that though?
Like live, yeah, because they're like, oh, obviously she always looks amazing. But there's other people that push the boundaries a little bit and they looked incredible. Kendall, like some people would have loved it, some people didn't.
Yeah, because for me, I don't know. Some of the dresses that were nice, but I found really boring for the Met Gala. So maybe you thought it was like widely acceptable, and I probably thought like I'd never wear that dress because it's so boring.
Yeah, see, like that's interesting to me because on a day-to-day basis, like I usually, because I don't really have a sense of what the trend is. I have no concept of a trend. It's purely based upon, okay, does she look good in that, right? Now, having said that, when I did see some of the pictures from the Met Gala, because I do like seeing like really cool and outrageous dresses and stuff. One of them that really I drew to was what Rihanna was wearing. Yeah. Right, the huge flowery dress.
That's probably the most controversial dress that was there as well.
And like if that was like in any other situation on any other person, I'd be like, that she's probably got a few screws loose, and that's all out of whack.
Totally.
But
it's Rihanna.
she rocked it. It
Totally.
looked amazing.
Exactly.
But so in terms of that, like, who then decides to go, okay, well, that is in that complete setting fashionable or not fashionable?
You do.
Okay.
She does.
Yeah.
She does. And I mean, Rihanna is known to dress outrageously anyway, so she's created a brand for herself. I'm sure she's got a really good grasp of what her style is in terms of her personal style and also her brand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure she's had a bunch of dresses to look at which were catered for that, and she chose that specific dress. And the only person that would tell her that she could wear that dress is her, because if she would rock up not sure about it, no, everyone would hate it. But now it's just controversial. Some people wouldn't wear it, but you're kind of like, okay, that's Rihanna. We're used to seeing that. We accept it. Yeah. It's fashion.
Sure. So it's kind of like what you like to wear and what sort of your fashion is defined essentially by your own character in many sense.
Totally.
Right? Do you think that everyone is sort of drawn to a particular type of style, or do you think that it's possible for someone to just, be able to rock anything?
I think there's something called like the mass market. So a look can be, for what you would say, a majority of people, like I will take maybe Blake Lively. Obviously her and Ryan are like couple goals and she looks amazing, but she always looks beautiful, but it might be a little bit more on the safer side compared to Rihanna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes looks like that, like everyone appreciates it because it's just beautiful in that way. And then other people just have different style.
Yeah. And like, sorry, what was the question again? Style.
Yeah. No, well, you said that, and I actually wanted to ask something else, which was like that the intrinsic value. Okay, so being able to dress, your fashion sense, which is in terms like linked to your own personality and your own style. Mm-hmm. Like, how important, or what's the value of you to be able to identify that identity, right? So to go, oh, I know that if I wear this particular type of colors or this particular kind of style, this is what I feel the best in, and what I feel I look the greatest in. Like, what's the value of that? Because I feel like that's not something that everyone has experienced, right? Because there are so many different things, there are so many different combinations of types of apparel, types of colors, all that kind of stuff, that you may never stumble upon that one type of thing or one type of style that would suit you and make you feel the best way that you possibly can, right? Like, is that a possibility?
I think we're talking about style and fashion in two different ways, whereas I think you're going in the direction of certain cuts and certain colours and certain looks and being in style or in fashion and how will people find that for themselves, whereas we're saying style is an extension of yourself. So as you grow and as you develop your character, you also develop a sense of what you feel great in and what feels comfortable to you to wear. And I think it's innate. People have it, but people don't have the confidence to execute it.
Okay.
People think that, okay, people are telling me this is on trend now, and I'm not sure if that's for me and if it suits my body type. They don't have the confidence to go, okay, this is on trend. I'm choosing not to wear it because this feels better for me. So that's, for us, fashion is about our own personality and our own confidence and our own self, rather than the fashion that you're talking about in terms of what the mass market is telling you, what media is telling you, what the famous people are wearing at the moment. So I feel like it's two different things. So I think everyone has it in them.
Sure.
But not everyone knows how to execute it. And that, for me, is confidence more than researching what the fashion trend is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like trial and error, like Ivy's talking about, like confidence in what you're wearing. Like, you might wear something and go, oh, this is not for me, and then wear something else, this is for me, and then you might just go more in that kind of direction. Yeah. And then that's when you start to create your style because you feel comfortable in it. Yeah.
So, having said that, has there ever been like a time where you've gone out and, you've dressed for something and it's negatively impacted you. So you've gone, okay, you thought that maybe if I wore this at the right time, if I wore this, then, okay, I'll just see how it goes. But then you've gone, fuck, all right, this was a really bad decision. And now I'm in full regret mode.
So many times. So many times. I guess, I'm like conflicted as to how to answer this, because in hindsight, I'm like, I should have just fucking rocked it. But no, I mean, we're human. Sometimes we think it's a great idea, or sometimes our mirror lies to us, or the lighting lies to us. And then we go out, see a picture of ourselves and go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm just going to hide in the corner and not do anything. I mean, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, because what you're wearing shouldn't predict your confidence. But it does. And that's an interesting conversation, because we're not perfect people. We might be in the fashion industry, but sometimes we get it so wrong. We get it so wrong in stuff that we sell for Hunter Rose, and we get it so wrong with ourselves. And I think you should allow yourself to be okay with that sometimes. Sometimes that's just going to happen, and that's a lesson learned, and you should never wear fishnet stockings again, because I don't see you, Ivy. But I probably will, because they're on trend.
I mean, do you have like an experience like that for yourself, Lynn?
I don't know. I think it's probably more comfort in terms of like a lot of the time it'd be like certain shoes, like especially like lace up ones. You're like, because they look the best with this short dress, but you can't fucking walk on the grass with them, and then you end up taking them off, and then like people think you're more of a bogan.
You're a trash bag from Geraldton.
So yeah, I think a lot of time it has come to shoes, and I've tried to get like good shoes, but sometimes you just want to look good. Majority of the time. Yeah.
Now, a lot of the times, like, because as I mentioned before, like you guys do a lot of amazing photo shoots with some amazing looking models, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
As including yourselves. Now, how, from your experiences with, because I'm guessing you get to meet a lot of different people in doing what you guys are doing.
Definitely.
How is the correlation between someone's confidence with their own body, irrespective of any type of clothes or fashion, like, cutting all that out?
Yeah.
How does that affect the outcome of what they put on? So, or how they look once they put something on?
So it's everything. Confidence is everything. And I guess this is what we're saying.
Okay.
It's everything.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just like hammering this message. I'm just not getting it.
Yeah.
No. This is a perfect question, because it sums up what we've been trying to say. And we've been on a lot of photo shoots, and some girls haven't modelled as much as others. Some are just more confident in others, and you can see it straight off the bat. You can see it in the photo. You can see it during the process of them taking a photo, and it's a matter of a photo could take a minute with the right person, or an hour with the wrong person.
Oh wow!
And that just comes down to confidence, because at the end of the day, our style's not everyone's taste. So we hire models for their look, obviously, but mainly their confidence and mainly their experience, because if they can't move and they're a beautiful face, it does nothing. It doesn't portray in the photo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, we rather choose someone who's a really good mover over a pretty face, because you could take 100 photos and we would never get the photos that we need from that pretty face if they're only just a pretty face compared to being a good mover as well.
Yeah. So the better photo comes from the confident girl than the hot girl.
What do you say to people that go, that's just something that they tell to the ugly people? Like what do you say to them? Because I'm sure you get that, right? Or confidence, that's just something that you tell people that are ugly so they'll feel better about themselves,
Yeah, but you know what? Our society is a little bit messed up, because you get magazines like confidence is key, and then the next page is lose 10 pounds.
Right.
You've got to be conflicted, so we totally get that's why people are so confused. Yeah.
So, I mean, being in this industry and going, okay, we understand being able to feel good and look good in certain things, but whilst still, not sacrificing your own sense of style and your own confidence. How would you be able to teach that to someone, or what would you tell someone to be able to go, you know what, if you had like your own course to go, how to raise your self-esteem in 10 steps or something like that, like how would you impart that knowledge on someone? If someone came up to you and was like, you know what, I've got all these fantastic looking clothes and I know that I'm meant to look good in them, but I don't feel it. What is that bit of knowledge that you can impart them to go, you know what, this is what you should do. This is how you should do it.
Yeah, you just think you have a good personality. That's what you say.
Yeah, you just throw your hands up and you're like, I'm fucking funny as fuck.
I think it's also like we also have to teach younger kids as well in this society. Like I remember Ivy was telling me a really good point. Like her friend had a baby or has like a little toddler, but would never say in front of her toddler, "Oh, like mummy feels fat," or anything like that. So if you're like saying, like making sure if it's in front of like little girls and stuff, that you never say, "I feel fat" or "I feel ugly" or anything like that. Like you always make sure, because they will copy you.
Sure.
So I think that's a really good point too. Ivy told me once, I was like, that's such a good idea, because you always go like, you have role models, and if they don't feel confident, you just go do exactly the same as them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a hard question as well, because like I don't know if I'm at that place where I can say, oh, I'm going to teach you confidence and high self-esteem, because I don't know if I'm fully there yet. It's a constant, it's a work in progress, really. So I think for me to do a 10-step thing would almost be hypocritical. but in saying that, I think there's definitely ways to build confidence, and that's one, first and foremost, is not listening to media, not listening to the mass market that's telling you this is what you should look like, because that's the destroyer of souls. And so is Instagram, because everyone looks amazing. So that's your first thing. Throw all that stuff out that you've been taught what looks good, because you have to be skinny and tall, and you have to eat donuts all day but look amazing. So I think you need to start there, and then really valuing yourself. So we practice gratitude as much as we can, and we talk about what we're grateful for. And I think a good point is to make sure that you make points of what you're grateful for within yourself. What are you good at, and how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
And I think from there it's a growth.
Okay.
So for me, I have really fucked up body issues sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I feel great. And I think the days that I don't, I need to step back and say, you know what, I'm really grateful that I'm healthy. I'm really grateful that I can wake up tomorrow and go for a run. I'm really grateful that I have food. I'm really grateful that, Asian genes makes me look 21. Yeah. You just pick out the good things, and you almost trick yourself until you're convinced that, okay, I'm not so bad, even though Cosmopolitan magazine's telling me that, I'm not tall, blonde, blue-eyed model.
Right, but at least you'll know the top 10 steps to give the perfect blowjob, though.
Yeah.
Which is...
There's a secret 11 steps.
So is that something that you guys both actively practice, the gratitude thing? Is that...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. That changes everything. Yeah, changes everything.
Yeah. Everything, your perception, how you deal with things, you suddenly... you change the way you deal with the situation, because you're no longer saying, oh, we have no money to pay for stock and do a photo shoot and look good and have 1 million photos to post on social media today. But you know what? We have really loyal customers. We have really great stuff, and we have got really hot friends that we can take free photos of.
Yes. No doubt, yeah.
So instead of focusing on the negative, you focus on the positive, and suddenly you feel better about yourself and about the outcome.
Yeah.
And really nothing's changed. The situation's exactly the same, but you feel good.
Yeah.
That's what gratitude does for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the secret tip, isn't it? Gratitude can make you look hot in anything.
Yes.
Correct.
to wrap things up with the question, I feel like I already know in terms of where you guys are sitting, because talking through this, it seems like there is like a symbiotic relationship between what is fashion in terms of what someone's own sense of fashion is and the ties to their own self-confidence.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask it again, right? Impeccable fashion with low self-esteem, or horrible fashion sense but be ignorantly confident?
Horrible fashion sense.
Ignorance is bliss.
As long as you don't think you're better than anyone else.
Right, sure.
It's
So there's that
yeah.
obviously that
so
answer
there's
as well.
those people that obviously like great fashion, but they think they're better than everyone. So it's just calm the fuck down.
Yeah, and then that becomes ugly.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than running into a horrible human being that thinks they're above you. You're like, I don't care what you're wearing.
Yeah.
You're ugly.
Yeah.
Your personality is ugly. You're ugly.
Yeah.
So I guess it can work in reverse. If you're a beautiful, confident person, it doesn't matter what you're wearing because you're beautiful and confident anyway. And I know that doesn't necessarily relate to fashion, but like I said, that stuff is so easy, and maybe that's ignorant for us to say because we're in the fashion field,
Sure.
so we're amongst it every day.
Yeah.
So it comes natural to us. But if you were amongst it every day, that's something that you would learn as well. Yeah. So yeah, priorities. If you really want to know, spend a day with us and we'll give you the top 10 tips of fashion.
Including the secret 11th, please. Before I do my shout outs to my stuff, do you guys want to give a plug for your own stuff?
You go.
Okay. I don't know what to say.
Obviously, you guys have a website.
Oh, yeah, we do have a website, hunterrose.com. We're on Instagram. It's hunter2_rose. And what else do we have? Oh, we're also on Facebook as well.
And our website?
Yeah, website, hunterrose.com, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why the 2 underscores?
Oh,
Was the one?
Because the one was taken.
Fuck.
I know.
So I know that's a lesson learned for any budding entrepreneurs is get your Insta tag straight away.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Is it by by business or by a person that the hunter_rose on Instagram?
Oh, that's under business.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think hunterrose.com.au is also taken by a business. So.
Oh, jeez.
You need to check this stuff before you start a business, guys.
All right, so thank you very much, Ivy and Loam, for
Thank
coming.
you for having us. This was fun.
I get that a lot, actually.
Oh, good.
People come in usually pretty nervous, but, you guys did really great.
No, we kind of stumbled, but, we got there in the end.
We found a footing. Next week, we'll have a new panel with a new question. As always, you can follow the podcast on wouldwerather.com, on Facebook, Would You Rather, as well as Instagram, Would You Rather Official, because, Would You Rather on Instagram was fucking taken.
Oh, damn it.
All episodes will be up on iTunes and wherever else you get your podcast from. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.